Hello, friends and neighbors. This is Risk Pig, and we're back with another D&D fave. We've got the infamous black powder merchant of Vasselheim, Victor. The man that speaks with the back of his throat and too much tongue to the teeth. It took me a while to decide on him as my favorite character for Campaign 1, because my original intention for this series was to draw my favorite player characters. But honestly, I found I didn't love any member of Vox Machina more than the other. So I'm sitting there like, who do I love the most? Turns out the answer was the disheveled lunatic inventor. Victor captured our attention right away, thanks to Matthew Mercer's impeccable voice and physical acting. The hunched shoulders and contorted fingers, and this voice that is just so unlike anything he had produced before. It's spectacular. So, little fact, I had actually not watched Critical Role in earnest until Campaign 1 was almost over. At that point, I had been playing D&D for a short while, and my first character's last name was Whitestone, one word. Everyone I shared her with were like, oh, you watch Critical Role, and I'm like, what the heck is Critical Role? I'm not saying that as a weird flex. It's the truth, and when I finally got around to starting it, I'm sure you can all understand my multiple false starts. It's so stressful that the first episode takes place in the middle of all kinds of stuff already happening. But I eventually pushed past it and fell hard for this adventure. It was the only thing, and this isn't even a little bit of an exaggeration, it was the only thing I watched for 3 months until I had finally caught up. And I caught up just in time for the big bad showdown at the very end. Then I got the spouse to watch it, and then there were the next 3 months of my life completely overtaken. Once again, as you may know by now, one of my biggest flaws to my process is that I don't have a process. I set up my scene, drew it, and then didn't have an idea until I started doing the line art. I had been binge watching The Umbrella Academy as of late. It's been on my to-do list for years. So I was feeling inspired to try and color this like a comic book. Because, come on, Victor is a quintessential comic book character. The crazy look with his big goggles, the manic drive towards his experiments, and total departure from social niceties. The man is a mad scientist. I wish I had thought to do it like this in the beginning because the sketching and line art would have looked much different. I would have made more of an effort to make it look more like Golden Age comics, but hey, I'll just keep it in mind for the next one. Still deciding on who I'll be doing next, but at least now I know my goal and what it should look like. Anyway, since I had determined the coloring, I spent some time looking at covers and panels from the 60s and 70s. And I felt that the horror comics of the 70s were more my jam. I fell in love with the washed looks, so I used my long-forgotten watercolor brushes before slapping on my screen tones to give it that proper texture. As you can see, we are still on our journey to make a decent background, but we will get there. I was trying to tell a narrative here with the few things I've got. This is a Victor that has only just started tinkering with black powder, so we have a clean workspace, and the powder is just out in buckets. I've got one that's precariously perched on a shelf. And as you take in the cracked fingernails, you may notice that boy ain't wearing protective gloves. Victor has yet to lose anything. So yeah, this piece was fun, and I very much appreciate the response it received. If you want to take a better look at the finished product, you can visit any of my socials, which are linked in the description. And hey, if you're interested, I've got a series on my channel where I've been retelling the Exandria campaign I played in for 2 years. If not, no worries, come back for the next D&D fave. Thank you so much, and have a great day.